The notification sound from my phone cut through the silence of my empty apartment like a knife. I was sitting in my old leather chair, the same one where I used to read bedtime stories to Michael when he was 5 years old. Now, 23 years later, that chair had become a monument to all my mistakes. I picked up the phone with trembling hands, expecting maybe a work email or some spam message. Instead, I saw my son's name on the screen. My heart jumped with hope for the first time in months. Maybe this was it. Maybe he was ready to talk, to forgive me for everything that had gone wrong between us. But as I read the message, my world collapsed again. Dad, stop trying to reach us. Sarah and I have made our decision. Don't contact us again. We need space, and frankly, we don't want you in our lives right now. I stared at those words until they blurred together. Sarah was my daughter-in-law, and they just had their first child 3 months ago. My grandson, whom I'd never even met. The weight of that reality hit me like a freight train. You see, I hadn't always been this isolated father. There was a time when Michael and I were inseparable. I taught him how to throw a curveball, helped him with his math homework, cheered from the sidelines at every soccer game. But somewhere along the way, work consumed me. The promotions, the business trips, the late nights at the office became more important than family dinners and school plays. When Michael graduated high school, I missed it because of a conference in Denver. When he got accepted to college, I was too busy closing a deal to celebrate with him. When he met Sarah, I barely knew her name. Pattern after pattern of absence, each one building a wall between us that grew higher with every missed moment. The final straw came at his wedding 8 months ago. I was supposed to give a speech, but I'd prepared nothing meaningful. Instead, I rambled about business achievements and made jokes that fell flat. Later that evening, I overheard Michael telling Sarah, "He doesn't even know who I am anymore." Those words haunted me. I realized I'd become exactly what I'd sworn I'd never be, my own father, a man so consumed with providing that he forgot to be present. After reading that message, I sat in that chair for hours, probably the longest I'd sat still in years. And then something clicked. I realized that everything I'd been doing to try to reconnect was wrong. The flowers I sent, the voicemails begging for forgiveness, the surprise visits to their apartment, they were all still about me, about my guilt, about my need to feel better. So I did something I'd never done before. I stopped. I didn't call. I didn't text. I didn't send another gift basket or show up uninvited. Instead, I started the hardest work of my life, working on myself. I enrolled in therapy for the first time at 52 years old. Dr. Martinez helped me understand that love isn't just a feeling, it's a choice you make every single day. And I'd been choosing everything else. I started volunteering at a local youth center, teaching kids how to throw that same curveball I'd taught Michael. Every Saturday morning, I was there, present and focused. For the first time in decades, I experienced what it meant to show up consistently for someone else. Months passed. I learned to sit with my regret without trying to fix it immediately. I wrote letters to Michael that I never sent, not because I was hiding, but because I was finally listening to what he'd asked for, space. Then, on a Tuesday morning 6 months later, my phone buzzed. Michael's name appeared on the screen again. My heart raced, but this time I breathed deeply before reading. "Dad, Sarah and I have been talking. We're not ready for a full relationship yet, but we'd like to try something small. Would you like to meet your grandson? Just for an hour, at the park near our house." I cried reading those words. Real tears, the kind I hadn't allowed myself in years. The next Saturday, I sat on a park bench holding my grandson for the first time. His tiny fingers wrapped around mine, and I made him a silent promise that I would be different for him, that I would be present. Michael was cautious, protective, and rightfully so. But as I held that baby and looked into my son's eyes, I saw something I hadn't seen in years. Hope. We're taking it one day at a time now. Some days are harder than others, but I'm learning that rebuilding trust isn't about grand gestures or quick fixes. It's about showing up consistently, keeping promises, and proving through actions that change is real. Sometimes the best response to "don't contact us again" isn't to fight harder, but to finally learn how to love better.